North Korea established its totalitarian regime in 1948, 1 year before George Orwell's dystopian novel 1984 was published. Although Orwell did not base the novel off of North Korea, no other country today resembles the party in 1984 more than North Korea. In 1984, propaganda is critical to the survivability of the party as it promotes a single belief system. It is embedded in every aspect of culture, from movies to children's history books, and is used to manipulate people's attitudes and behavior. Winston observes that the songs, the processions, the banners, the hiking, the drilling with dummy rifles, the yelling of slogans, the worship of Big Brother, it was all a sort of glorious game. In this society, there seemed to be no color in anything except the posters that were plastered everywhere. Like Oceania, propaganda in North Korea is omnipresent. It is the truth, and the truth belongs to the party, which belongs to its leader, Kim Jong-un. Mi Ran, a North Korean defector, describes the propaganda in North Korea as this. She says, "Red is reserved for the lettering of the ubiquitous propaganda signs. The Korean language uses a unique alphabet made of circles and lines. The red letters leap out of the gray landscape with urgency. They march across the fields, reside over the granite cliffs of the mountains, punctuate the main roads like mileage markers, and dance on top of railroad stations and other public buildings." Indoctrination begins at elementary school age. Children are taught a set of beliefs that consist of three main tenets. First, Kim Jong-un, his father, and his grandfather possess superhuman qualities. Parades, songs, statues, plays, and schools are all dedicated to their greatness. Secondly, North Korea is the best country in the world. The North Korean song, "We Have Nothing to Envy," is regularly sung in schools. Lastly, the North Korean government tells its citizens that war is imminent with South Korea, the United States, and Japan, but that the North Korean army is ready to obliterate the enemy. Ben Marks of the site Fatherly reports that even cartoons are not immune to anti-American propaganda. However, Eileen Connolly of the New York Post notes that North Korea has scaled back a bit on anti-US propaganda as Kim Jong-un makes more appearances with world leaders. A North Korean defector comments, "It's like a religion. From birth, you learn about the Kim family, learn that they are gods, that you must be absolutely obedient to the Kim family." North Korean citizens are fed this misinformation because there is only one news outlet, which of course is controlled by the government. But how would a government know if their propaganda is effective? The answer is through surveillance. In 1984, the party uses technology, such as telescreens and hearing devices, that constantly monitor party members. The instrument, the telescreen it was called, could be dimmed, but there was no way of shutting it off completely. Because of this, you had to did live, from habit that became instinct, and the assumption that every sound you made was overheard and, except in darkness, every movement scrutinized. The party also employs thought police who catch dissenters of the party. Not only is there constant surveillance by the government, but one is also always watched by neighbors and even family members. When in the Ministry of Love, Winston encounters Parsons, who tells him that his daughter listened at the keyhole, heard what he was saying, and nipped off to the patrols the very next day. In North Korea, the government also constantly surveils people through the means of technology. The government's Red Star computer operating system, which is in every approved technological device, deletes text documents with specific words or phrases that are deemed unfavorable to the regime. When a U.S. report was conducted on how North Korea spies on its citizens, Nat Krutchen, the report's lead author, said, "By giving citizens new network technologies like mobile phones and tablets, the government is able to automatically censor unsanctioned content and observe everything citizens are doing on their devices remotely." North Korea's Ministry of State Security also employs 1 in 5 households to spy on their neighbors and report any disloyal behavior or talk. Kang Chul-han's The Aquariums of Pyongyang reveals that every school has bi-weekly criticism and self-criticism sessions where students critique themselves and report their fellow schoolmates of any infractions. But what can be done about an infraction? In 1984, Ministry of Love officials interrogate, torture, and break down Winston until he accepts party ideology completely, thereby accomplishing the party's goal of having its people embrace their propaganda as the actual truth. O'Brien describes the process as this: we convert him, we capture his inner mind, we reshape him, we burn all evil and all illusion out of him, we bring him over to our side, not in appearance, but genuinely, heart and soul. We make him one of ourselves before we kill him. Party criminals are then either reintegrated back into society or are sent to labor camps. In North Korea, infractions ranging from not dusting Kim Jong-un's portraits, to not crying enough at Kim Jong-il's funeral, to being accused of scheming against the party results in punishment. And if one family member appears to be a threat to the government's regime, the government punishes the whole family, as they believe that they have committed wrong thought. The government makes these infractors disappear by sending them to the gulags, or forced labor camps. According to the US-based Committee for Human Rights, there are about 120,000 political prisoners in North Korea without due process of any kind. Benjamin Haas and Daniel Hurst of The Guardian reported that the UN Commission of Inquiry found the regime's crimes included extermination, murder, enslavement, torture, imprisonment, rape, forced abortions and other sexual violence, persecution on political, religious, racial, and gender grounds, the forcible transfer of populations, the enforced disappearance of persons, and the inhumane act of knowingly causing prolonged starvation. The conditions are so bad that 20% to 25% of the camp's population die each year. So is there a solution to the bleak situation in North Korea? On an individual level, we can first become educated on the state of North Korea. We cannot act if we do not know much about it. Next, we can use social media to contact our representatives, the White House, and the UN to express outrage over the gross violation of human rights in North Korea. This measure can put pressures on officials to take action. On an institutional level, the problem must first be acknowledged before it is fixed. However, unlike previous presidents who all denounced the human rights violations in North Korea, President Trump touts Kim Jong-un as a great leader.
He's a very smart guy. He's a great negotiator. He loves his people, not that I'm surprised by that, but he loves his people.
Leaders must be able to recognize North Korea's problems and work towards solving them. Another institutional solution involves China. According to South Korea's Ministry of Unification, about 31,827 North Koreans have risked their lives and defected since 1953. Defectors usually escape to China by swimming across the Yalu River, which is a natural border between the two countries. Barbara Dimick, author of Nothing to Envy, writes that China denies these defectors who seek help at the South Korean embassy in China since they are a North Korean sympathizer and never fully joined international sanctions against the North. Helen Reagan and Jake Kwan of CNN report that recently China has cracked down on secret routes and safe houses and deport North Korean refugees back to North Korea where they are sent to labor camps or are executed. South Korea must also do more to help resettle the defectors. Currently, the government gives the defectors a $20,000 single stipend and offers a resettlement camp. However, North Koreans face significant discrimination and are treated like second-class citizens in South Korea. The Korea Hana Foundation reports that the unemployment rate for defectors is 3% to 6% higher than the national average, and defectors work 8.8 hours more than the national average but are paid about a third less than South Koreans. Solutions, both on individual and institutional levels, are complex and not without controversy. So let's continue the conversation.